The Denver Broncos are stepping into one of the most important games of the season, a matchup that could redefine their entire playoff journey. Tomorrow, they face the Houston Texans, and the stakes couldn't be higher. A win would mark 6 straight victories, a statement to the entire AFC that Denver is back. And if they pull this off, their chances of taking the AFC West rise dramatically. But if they fall short, the path becomes steep, difficult, and unforgiving. This is a moment that demands everything: strategy, discipline, and heart. Now before we go further, quick reminder, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any Broncos updates. This journey is just getting started. Now, let's dig in. Earlier this week, Denver brought in Marcedes, a veteran who has built his reputation not with flash, but with physicality and toughness. A lot of people thought he'd simply be depth, a locker room presence at best. But Sean Payton had other plans. Lewis has now been officially activated from the practice squad, and he is suiting up this week. This is classic Sean Payton: strategic, patient, precise. He knows that Lewis remains one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL. His presence changes the shape of the offense. Denver no longer needs to rely on heavy jumbo formations to power the run game. Lewis can secure edges, create lanes, and bring the physicality this offense thrives on. Expect Denver to pound the football and control the pace. And while the addition of Lewis is a major move, it likely isn't the final one. There are still possible tight end trade opportunities being monitored, and Denver is not finished shaping this roster for the stretch run. However, there is tough news heading into this game. Marvin Mims will not be playing. This one hurts. Mims is a spark, a player who forces defenses to hesitate, adjust, and react. Whether it's motion, sweeps, deep shots, or pure decoy work, he changes the geometry of the field. Losing him takes away a layer of creativity in this offense. Now the question becomes, who steps into that role? Will it be Troy Franklin? Will it be Pat Bryant? Can either of them replicate the movement, the misdirection, the explosive presence that Mims brings? We are about to find out. This game isn't just another Sunday. This is a test, of identity, of momentum, of belief. And tomorrow, we'll see exactly what this Broncos team is made of. One of the biggest questions heading into this matchup is how the Broncos adjust without Marvin Mims. His explosiveness in the return game and his ability to stretch the field is something very few players can replace. So now, all eyes turn to who steps up in his place, and whether Jaleel McLaughlin will suit up and be part of that offensive rotation. That answer becomes clear tomorrow. But Denver didn't sit still. To help replace some of that spark in the return game and add another dynamic option in the slot, the Broncos have activated Bandy, a player the coaching staff knows extremely well. He has history with this system, going back to when the offensive staff was with the Chargers. And Bandy isn't just depth, he is a true slot technician. He's listed at 5 feet 10 inches, around 190 pounds, but what makes him special isn't size, it's the art of route running. Sharp hips. Sudden change of direction. Quick separation. The kind of movement that makes defensive backs hesitate for just a fraction of a second, and in the NFL, that's all you need. He's been compared to players like Wes Welker, not because of legacy or stats, but because of his style: precise, purposeful, relentless. You can see it on tape, whether it's during his time with the Chargers or in limited preseason action with Denver. He has a feel for space and timing. When the quarterback moves, he moves. When the defense shifts, he adjusts. That's something you can't teach. And here's the wild part: in a game with major playoff stakes, the Broncos could have 2 players elevated from the practice squad taking meaningful snaps on offense. That's not ideal for most teams, but Denver has built a roster where depth is not just bodies, it's intentional talent. And when we shift back to the matchup itself, there's a real advantage no one is talking about. While the headlines focus on quarterbacks and offensive skill players, there is a battle brewing in the trenches that could control this game: Denver's defensive line versus Houston's offensive line. This is the key. Denver's front has been violent, disciplined, and opportunistic through this win streak. They're winning with leverage, speed, and relentless pressure. And Houston's offensive line, while improved, has struggled against physical, gap-controlling fronts. If Denver wins here, they control the game. They control the clock. They control the outcome. This is where playoff dreams are built, in the dirt, in the fight, at the line of scrimmage. And the Broncos are ready. As we look toward this matchup, there's been plenty of talk about the Broncos' edge rushers applying pressure on C.J. Stroud. And yes, Jonathan Cooper and Nick Bonitto have been relentless this season, forcing quarterbacks into hurried throws and uncomfortable pockets. But the real difference-maker in this game may come from inside. Because Zach Allen is quietly playing some of the best interior football in the league. He doesn't chase attention. He doesn't need the spotlight. But the impact? It's undeniable. Over the last 25 games, Allen has stacked up quarterback hits at a pace that rivals, and in some cases surpasses, names like Nick Bosa, T.J. Watt, J.J. Watt, and Aaron Donald. That's not hype, that's production. Snap after snap, he collapses pockets, ruins protections, and destroys timing. In a game like this, where C.J. Stroud thrives on rhythm and timing, Allen could be the one who breaks the rhythm entirely. This is where the game shifts, the trenches. Now, many are pointing out the battle between both teams' edge rushers. The Texans have difference-makers too. Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. are forces who can change momentum in a single play. But here's the key, Denver's offensive tackles have been among the highest graded in football this season. This isn't a mismatch. This is strength versus strength. And while the Texans have explosive perimeter pressure, Denver has something they don't, a defensive front that attacks their greatest weakness, the interior of their offensive line. This is where Denver has the advantage. This is where games are won. And the momentum in Denver's locker room? It's real. 5 straight wins. Not lucky. Not flukes. Earned. Sean Payton has this team locked in, mentally sharp, physically tough, emotionally unified. There's no let-up. No complacency. This team has been grinding week after week, and instead of wearing down, they're feeding off it. Add to that the return of Dre Greenlaw, bringing leadership, speed, and tone-setting physicality back into the middle of the defense, and the picture becomes even clearer. The Broncos aren't just trying to win this game. They're trying to take control of their season. And when you line it all up, strengths versus weaknesses, matchups versus vulnerabilities, momentum versus pressure, the path points one direction. Denver is built to win this game. Not by accident. Not by luck. But because they're the tougher team in the trenches, where playoff teams are made. Tomorrow, we find out if this win streak turns into a statement. And I believe it will. One thing that can't be overlooked in this matchup is the growth of Bo Nix. If you only look at his early season numbers, you're missing the story. Just like last year, he needed time to absorb the depth and complexity of Sean Payton's offense. And make no mistake, this playbook is massive. Former quarterbacks have described it as encyclopedic, layers of adjustments, timing shifts, coverage reads, and built-in counters for every defensive look. Now, Nix has the full system in his hands. He's no longer reacting, he's commanding. And because of that, I believe Denver is positioned to control this game. Another key factor, Nix's mobility. The Texans' defensive structure leaves space for a quarterback who can move. Earlier in the season, Payton was cautious with designed runs, especially after Nix took that brutal hit last year against the Raiders. But now we're entering the stretch where every game matters. This is the push for the division. This is where you lean on your quarterback's full skill set. Expect designed runs. Expect rollouts. Expect Nix to attack the edges when the defense tries to sit back. And without Marvin Mims, this becomes even more important. More motion. More misdirection. More stress on defenders. Now let's talk about Pat Bryant, because his role could be huge tomorrow. You can see the trust growing. He's being worked in more and more, and not just as a pass-catching target, but as a tone-setter in the run game. This is someone who takes pride in blocking. College coaches praised him for it. Teammates respect him for it. He straight up tells running backs in the huddle, "If you bounce it behind me. I'll clear it." Players like that change offensive identity. Then there's J.K. Dobbins, returning to Houston with history on his mind. There's unfinished business there. There's emotion there. And when you combine a motivated running back with a physical receiver like Bryant sealing edges and Marcedes Lewis hammering defensive ends, Denver's ground game has the potential to take over. And one more storyline is worth noting: multiple well-connected reporters, first Albert Breer, and now Diana Rossini, have reported how strongly Sean Payton believes in Bo Nix. That belief matters. That trust matters. When a coach and quarterback are aligned, confident, and unified, that's when an offense becomes dangerous. This isn't just another game. This is a moment for Denver to step forward and show the league who they've become. There's one more storyline to watch closely: the tight end market. Multiple league insiders are reporting that Denver is still evaluating options, and this isn't just background noise. This is strategy. This is preparation for a postseason push. Names like T.J. Hawkinson and David Njoku have come up repeatedly. Both are complete players, strong, physical, versatile, and able to impact the passing game immediately. And while those are the headline names, there are also several under-the-radar tight ends around the league that could become realistic targets if the right deal is there. The front office is watching. Waiting. Calculating. And it doesn't stop at tight end. There's buzz surrounding Calvin Ridley as well, a receiver who has proven he can be a true number one. The fact that he's healthy but not active for this game has raised eyebrows around the league. When a player of that caliber is held out, it usually means conversations are happening behind the scenes. If the Titans are open to discussions, Denver could be one of the teams positioned to act. All of this tells us something important: the Broncos are not just trying to compete. They are trying to build a roster that can win in December. And win in January. So here we are. A massive AFC matchup. Momentum at our backs. Identity forming. Belief growing. A team that refuses to fold, refuses to slow down, refuses to back away from the moment. The Broncos are stepping into Houston with confidence, clarity, and a plan, and I believe they walk out with another win. And from there, it's a quick turnaround to face the Raiders, another challenge, another test, another chance to prove who this team has become. Because right now, Broncos country has every reason to believe. This team is not the one we saw early in the season. This is a team with fight. With purpose. With something real building. And we're just getting started.